of the community.
I am Dr. Business.
And I am the one and only Lady G.U.N.S, which means I am greatness under no stipulation.
We are so excited that you have tuned into this another profit and growth segment where we always look to give you something for your head, something for your heart, and something for your hands to do. We are an intelligent people. We want to make sure that we get the right information to you so that you can make the right decisions. But then we are passionate about some things. We emote, we feel, and that's what motivates us to get up in the morning, especially if you've had a wonderful night.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And then we have to put our hands to the gospel plow.
Yes.
We need to get busy. We need to work. We need to actually bring some deliverables to the table so that our tomorrow will be better than our today. Family, we're excited to be back here in the studio. As you know, oftentimes we are in the field capturing the best of 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 the best. But today we have brought the best to us here in studio. She goes by the name of Sabrina Nichole. Please write down that name, Sabrina Nichole.
Not to be confused with Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Not at all.
That would be different.
Definitely different.
Hues and all. But Sabrina Nichole is here in the studio with us. She is our modern day Dr. Phil. And she has been through some things.
Yes.
She's seen some things. She's experienced some things. So we want you to know that you are not alone because we have a veteran who has gone through and has come out on the other side smelling like roses.
Thank you.
Yes.
Smelling like roses.
Thank you.
So we're excited to have her here in the studio. She's going to share with us her story. She's an author, ordained minister, counselor, friend, and a whole bunch of other adjectives that you can add behind her name.
Yes.
And we're excited and privileged and honored to have her here in the studio with us. Thank you, Sabrina.
Thank you. And thank you.
You're more than
It is
welcome.
my pleasure to be here today to share a little bit about who I am and what I do and what I bring to the world. So thank you for the opportunity.
Is that your white girl voice?
No, actually, that is my everyday voice, my professional therapeutic voice.
Right.
It sounds so wonderful.
Thank
And the
you.
Bible say a soft word turns away
Listen,
wrath.
Shondo,
My
yes.
spirit. That's
Yes.
right. Turns away wrath. That's right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Women need to know that more and more.
Uh-oh.
So do
Yeah.
men.
I'm not going to touch that.
Men have no issues and no problems because we rule the world. It's the women that mess it up for everybody. You can blame all that on Eve. So we can go back to Genesis and figure out the root cause of all the issues and the problems that we have in this world.
And you know what? Even in the Bible, Adam didn't even take responsibility for his own actions.
This is true.
Because he was right.
God, it was the woman you gave me. Like he couldn't
It is
think
the
for
woman.
himself. Typically, men don't use the proper head
They don't.
in order to think with. So therefore, they are
They
led
don't.
by their loins
Right.
down the paths that they ought not be upon.
Yes.
The
And they
paths of
actually
righteousness.
use those same loins
To be
try
fruitful
to get their way
and multiply.
in order to try to
That's what we do.
seduce their ways into areas and platforms.
Right.
But then they blame us. However,
Right.
we all know that behind every man was a woman. Because that's how he got here.
Bark like a dog.
Who are you talking to? She can't cuss, but I can. Who in the Sam Beelzebub?
All I'm going to say.
Coming to America. That's all I'm saying. Coming to America.
You got a
Bring it
therapeutic
back.
voice.
Bring it back.
You know, all
Bring it
I'm
back.
going to say
Look,
is you clearly have some things that you need to work through. And
Oh,
for
yes.
a small fee, I can help you with that.
Look, send me the bill. That I will contribute.
Yeah.
GoFundMe.
Listen,
Yeah.
See, that's how we
you don't have to stay there.
No, I don't.
You don't have to stay there. You can
make
heal.
me more, better.
Listen, with
and
the help of
improved.
the Lord. And Lord,
A heavy dose of Jesus.
you don't have to stay there.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Because we're all yet being saved.
Yes.
Constantly, sir.
It's a
Sir.
process.
She's talking to you. No.
Oh, wow. Yeah, clearly. So, Sabrina Nichole.
Yes.
We will bypass Albuquerque.
Okay.
Great. Go straight to our final destination. You have gone through some things, some challenges,
Yes.
and come on the other side. Before I even get into asking what those challenges were, because a lot of times I think people always can identify their problems, but what were the two things that made you decide that there needed to be a change?
Two things that made me decide that it was time to change, and it kind of goes to a little bit of my story, but I won't go into a whole lot of detail here, but it was the passing of my mother.
Okay.
And the subsequent questions I asked about her happiness, her state of wellness, even though she was a soldier for the Lord, she was a teacher for over 36 years. When she died, the question I asked and my grief at that moment was she ever really happy? And so that was the first thing. The second thing that I would say made me know it's time to change was my own health. The body talks. And so when our bodies begin to send signals that something's going on, we need to listen.
Absolutely.
And so those signals help me know it's time to do something different, Sabrina.
We have a radio host, Terry Kirkpatrick, actually has a radio broadcast called Body Talks. And it literally talks about understanding the language that your body is speaking to you. Squirt it, squirt it, squirt it. That's your bed, not your body.
No, that's
Sorry.
that's their bones. You know,
That's not.
that's bones. When your bones creak and stuff at the joints.
I've never heard bones sound like that.
I think you just got caught in something and you was trying to moonwalk your way back out of it. Why you breathing hard?
I
Calm
don't know
down.
what you're talking about.
See, what I was saying was, but I realize that most of the time people go through something and they accept they make the abnormal their norm.
Yeah.
They make whatever's wrong, well, this is just the way life is, until there's something significant, typically tilts the scale and makes they then begin to see the forest and the trees.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why I asked, because a lot of our listeners might be in denial or know someone that needs help.
Yeah.
But understand that our responsibility is my mom used to always say, I can't want more for you than you want for yourself.
Absolutely.
So with that being said, my responsibility to your behavior is I must continuously pray that when that turning point, when that change comes, that you are awakened and alert about what the possibilities are of a better life or a different way. So better life, you could be rich with millions and you're like, how can life get better? But there's plenty of millionaires jumping out of windows.
Absolutely.
So not just a better life, but a better way.
Yes.
They're just not doing it right.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask. Keep going. Sir, I am not walking in your footsteps today.
I can't.
I made up in my mind
I
when
can't.
that I was going to
can't.
be rooted
If
and
you do it
grounded.
right.
I can't with them.
Yes.
You know, you said something that triggered a thought in my mind, and that is sometimes people are in denial. That's true. Sometimes people are in denial, but a compassionate way of looking at that is sometimes people are not at a place where they are able to be awakened. Awakening is not a pretty process. It is, things are disrupted, chaos happens, and so our psyches are wired to protect us from things that we don't think we can handle just yet.
Right.
So it takes not just the prayer, but it takes patience, it takes compassion and empathy to know that when the time comes, when somebody has the capacity to face their demons, they will.
But that's when they have to decide whether or not to take the blue pill or the red pill.
Absolutely.
Because just like in The Matrix, we're walking through this world with these blinders on.
Yes.
Getting up, making the donuts, doing the humdrum, and making that our norm. But then there's a point in time in our lives where somebody offers an alternative. Do you want those blinders removed?
Right.
Do you want to see the real that's going on in the world? Spike Lee in his infamous movie way back when.
Which one?
The one he said, "Wake up!"
School days.
School days. Because we go through life not understanding the ramifications of our actions.
Yes.
And we don't live a life of purpose. We don't live a life of passion. And sooner or later, we have to make that decision. Do we continue to walk through life with those blinders on, or do we wake up, get woke to the things that are happening around us and start making a positive change and a positive difference in our environment.
Absolutely. You know, and we have a perfect example of that in Jesus. When Jesus says to the disciples, this is going to cost you something. Don't put your hands to the plow and then turn back. It's the same thing in the process of awakening, because once you are awakened, you can't go back to sleep.
That is true.
So you've got to make a decision. Am I going to stick this all the way through, or am I just going to sit it out? And, you know, my journey is one where I started the process of awakening, and in the process, when things got hot and heavy, wanted to go back to sleep. I was like, what have I done? But once you start, and especially when God has his hands in it, you got to see it through.
Absolutely.
It's like a rubber band. Once you stretch it, it does not get back to its original form.
Absolutely.
So every day we're in that stretching process where our mind gets stretched, our spirit gets stretched, we get challenged in a myriad of different areas.
Yes.
And when we go through those things, we cannot unsee them anymore.
Absolutely.
It's like when you see your parents having sex and you think daddy is hurting mommy, and then you want to say, Daddy, don't hurt mommy.
So your therapy
and then
with
mommy
him
says,
has a start.
It's already started.
wrestling with the baby oil and stuff.
I'm already figuring out
As a
what we
result.
need to
But I'm
talk
saying,
about.
where you thought you'd have to go back to the adolescent years,
Yeah, no,
realize
you got to
gotta
go all the way
all
back.
the way back
Yeah.
to being spanked by the doctor and
Right.
like right.
I peed on him.
Right. I'm sure you did. Without a doubt in my mind, I believe that is a true story.
I
He ain't gonna put his
can't.
hands on me without getting peed on. I'm just saying, that's a defense mechanism.
We all have
Because
them.
you thought you was a skunk?
We all have defense mechanisms, I guess.
Mama or
And
something?
as a child, what you got? You know, you a little baby. You ain't got no arms, no legs, really. You can't stop nobody. You
So
can't
you just
defend.
pee.
You just pee on them. That was R. Kelly's problem. But
No, we're
he
not.
just
We're not
didn't
doing
get over
that.
it.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that.
Hang right with me. Hang right. Hold on, I'm about to steer this back on track. We're talking, you know, comically. That's the edutainment part of it,
Yeah.
about youth. But because you asked the questions, you know, about your mother, often people don't realize that whatever they go through, they're passing on to their children.
Absolutely.
And I saw something, I don't remember if I was in a training class or whatever it was. There were two brothers, and one brother, the father was an alcoholic and abusive. One brother became just like the father, and the other one decided he wanted to be opposite of the father. So there was a decision to be this way or to not be. You know, they selected, the mother was in the house, and one went with the behavior of the mother, but more with, I'm not going to be like him. The other one was, I'm just like him. I heard my sister tell my nieces and nephews something one day that she shared with them. She said, every single action that you do, we're all depending on it. It impacts everybody.
Yes.
Your schoolwork impacts me.
Yes.
Your schoolwork impacts Uncle Mike. Your schoolwork, you know, what you do with your friends impacts everybody. And guess what? It impacts your friends' families and everything else.
Yes.
So she instills that in them because they are in a world where they're seeing all kinds of mess.
Yes.
You know, and how do you explain to a 6-year-old that that's not right? But they keep seeing it over and over and over. Hey, we're not supposed to do that. But every time I turn on the TV, my video games got shooting. There's a shooting on TV. Cops are shooting. People are shooting each other. You know, now we're going to, it's just all that. So how do you divert a child and say, don't do what you see, but do what I say? And she did that by saying your actions, making them responsible. We can't be responsible for the rest of the world.
Personal responsibility.
You know, so when transitioning and, you know, through your journey, how far back and how deep did you look within your family to decide that's their behaviors, but these can't be my behaviors? What did you pick? And, you know, how did you decipher between being like the mom or the dad or, you know, the cousin that stops in during summers?
Yeah, no, I love that question because one of the things that is getting more research, more conversation now is around generational trauma. And I like to bring that topic up because, you know, in faith communities and church, we talk about generational curses. And so I've been challenging people, what if it's not a curse? What if it's trauma? And can we take a different approach, a different look, of a different way of handling those things, so that we can actually help people get delivered and break through those issues?
Wonderful.
So for me, I had to go all the way back, not just with my mom, but I had to think about my grandparents, the stories that I did know, and then also consider there might be some stories that have never been told that are impacting me today. But my key, even if I don't know them, even if nobody ever tells me about what happened, the key is I've got to make a decision about what do I want for myself.
Absolutely.
And I had to discover my why. So Nietzsche has this phrase where he says anybody who can develop a why to life can put up with just about any how.
Absolutely.
And my why became, my desire to have my own family one day. And I don't want to perpetuate those things to my children. My why became, I want to turn my pain into purpose, and I want to use it to help other people. Those became my whys to work through all of the trauma that I knew about and the trauma that I didn't know. And I'm still in the process. People will say, Sabrina, you've come through it. You're on the other side of it. And I say, no, I'm in the process. Every day is still another layer to be peeled.
Right.
More healing to be done, more growth to have.
Right. And the fact that you just packed up your bags and decided to take the journey.
Yes.
That is the accomplishment.
Yeah.
That's a true accomplishment, because a lot of people know that they need to do something different because, they say insanity is doing the same thing, expecting something different. They know they need to, however, they don't either know where to start, how to start, who's going to help them, because you didn't get in it by yourself. So getting out of it alone is not necessarily optional as well.
And I say that it's not an option. You need people to help you through.
Right.
I talk about my earthly angels. There's no way I could have gone through my process without them. And so when you talk about every decision impacting other people around us, that's so true. Community is real.
Yeah.
It's necessary. It's where the best growth and healing can happen. And it's a risk. It's vulnerability involved in that. But we do our best growing and our best healing when we are connected with other people who truly care about us.
That's the key, who truly care about us.
Sabrina Nichole is an ordained minister, licensed professional counselor, a nonprofit leader in Charlotte, North Carolina. She's graduated from Winston-Salem State University with the Bachelor of Arts degree in psychology and Wake Forest University with a dual Master of Divinity and Master of Arts in counseling. She's educated. She knows some things.
She is potent.
I do what I can for the people.
She has a book that's entitled Child Get Up, Living with Mental Illness and Faith. You want to make sure that you get a hold of this book. They can get the book how?
You can actually order the book on Amazon, and it'll come right to you.
Excellent.
That's Amazon.com for those of you that don't know.
Yeah. Don't go to the Amazon walking around aimlessly looking for a book.
Know those who we speak to.
Yes, I understand.
Make sure you get the book. Don't go anywhere, family. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about depression and anxiety and multiple suicide attempts and things of that nature. There's help on the way through Sabrina Nichole. Don't go anywhere. You're tuned in to the Profit and Growth Hour here on WDRB Media,
the voice of the community. Sabrina got us with our mellow voices on. We
For now.
basically be up here like, God, let me tell you something.